because I come from a lineage which this country ripped black mothers and black fathers away from black children to build this capitalistic society.
They're saying that Operation Midway Blitz, since it launched, has detained over 400 folks, although an AP article just came out said it was more like 550.
One of the last things he said to me is, "Please, sir, save Chicago." We're going to do that. We're going to save Chicago from horrible crime.
Video just released today showing a shooting that left an off-duty Chicago police officer hurt. They then opened fire as that garage door closes.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're talking again about Chicago, where your boy, Brandon Johnson, he is in a whole pot of hot water. He's in hot water, y'all, because he recently said that law enforcement is a sickness, and that had the whole law enforcement establishment in Chicago say, what? And I would say they turned on him, but you know, they have to keep working with him because he is illustrious and he is sub 10% approval rating. And frankly, he's one of the most interesting characters to talk about on this channel. I'm gonna give y'all just a little snippet before we get into. Let me tell y'all what's coming up before we get into this snippet, because I want y'all to hang around. We're getting into 500 people arrested in ICE raids in Chicago. We're getting into the fact that Chicago authorities let a murderer back on the street instead of giving him over to ICE. We got a person lighting a bomb. We have an off-duty police officer who looks like she was targeted for assassination. We have a lot, y'all, so just stick around. But first, let's just see what Brandon Johnson, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. Let's just get a little sample of how he thinks.
Ripping families apart. It's not the first time this country has done this. And this is why it's important that as black and brown folks, we stand together. Because I come from a lineage which this country ripped black mothers and black fathers away from black children to build this capitalistic society. And they're doing it again. As I've said before, this is not hyperbolic. There are those in this country who still believe that the Civil War went the wrong way. And I just want immigrant community, whether you're documented or not, that this country has done these type of acts before, and that there are people who understand that. And because we do understand that, it's why I'm able to stand so boldly and so firmly in opposition to what this government is doing. Ripping families apart while abdicating their responsibility to actually fix our broken immigration system.
All right, y'all. So now that you got your illustrious fix, your sub 10% approval rating fix for the day, let's go ahead and hop into how ICE has arrested over 500 people in the Windy City during their Operation Midway Blitz. Let's take a look. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
Yeah, Paris, tell us about what we've been experiencing. Do we know how many people have been detained as a result?
According to the Department of Homeland Security, they're saying that Operation Midway Blitz, since it launched about 2 weeks ago, has detained over 400 folks, although an AP article just came out said it was more like 550. Now, they've claimed that they are targeting violent criminals, although we know from reporting they accidentally detained a U.S. citizen near Elgin and let him go last week, and shot and killed an undocumented immigrant, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, in Franklin Park. about 10 days ago, they say had a history of reckless driving. Now, today, Illinois Senator Dick Durbin says he's not necessarily buying the official numbers.
Fewer than 30% of those who've been arrested have any kind of criminal background whatsoever. So 70% of the people who are being detained have no criminal record. The president can rant about rapists and murderers and terrorists and criminally insane people coming in as immigrants, but those who are being arrested don't have any indication of that behavior. So if we're going to make America safe, let's put the resources into stopping criminals.
And the comments come after several days of clashes, as you saw, between a handful of protesters and ICE and Border Patrol agents. A spokeswoman for the Department of Homeland Security blamed the actions and rhetoric of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker as escalating these tense situations.
It is incumbent upon J.B. Pritzker, Mayor Brandon Johnson to turn down the rhetoric because they are repeating and really turning to violence. You see them really depraved individuals who are being held in this processing facility. Why do they want them out? Why do they want them released? It makes no sense, and you're just putting Chicago residents in further danger.
Now check out this guy, y'all. Now you know that your illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, you know that he has a, what do we call it, a welcoming city ordinance that he follows, which basically means that his police will not cooperate with ICE. So when they detain somebody, even if that person's how do we say, unaliver, okay? Even if they detain an unaliver, they would rather let the unaliver back onto the streets rather than call up ICE and say, hey, y'all, we have an unaliver who's in the country without permission. Come get this unaliver. See, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he wants unaliver families to not be ripped apart.
And just this afternoon, ICE made public the arrest of 37-year-old Aldo Salazar Bahema, who was convicted of murder in 2005 and recently released from Stateville Correctional Center. That arrest is part of Operation Midway Blitz.
So you may be saying to yourself, where is the National Guard when you need them? If you remember, Donald Trump originally said he was going to send the National Guard. Then he backed off because the governor of Illinois didn't want to work with him. But I think after Charlie Kirk's death, Donald Trump, he may be having a change of heart saying, look, I'm going to send these National Guards anyway, because Charlie Kirk was from the Chicago area. And apparently Charlie Kirk asked Donald Trump, hey, man, help clean up my hometown.
When President Trump took the stage, he spoke on continuing Kirk's vision. Our Marissa Sulik is live in the control room for us tonight. Marissa, the president said part of that vision included plans for Chicago.
Yeah, Chris, he revealed that he had a last conversation with Charlie Kirk, and in that they talked about the city, the crime, and now President Trump is once again threatening to bring the National Guard to Chicago.
One of the last things he said to me is, please, sir, save Chicago. We're going to do that. We're going to save Chicago from horrible crime.
At Charlie Kirk's memorial service in Glendale, Arizona, President Donald Trump threatened once again to send National Guard troops to Chicago.
We're going to have Charlie very much in mind when we go into Chicago, and we'll get that one straightened out. You have an incompetent governor who he thinks it's okay when 11 people get murdered over the weekend.
Today, speakers and members of the Trump administration called the 31-year-old conservative activist a great American hero and martyr.
So just how bad is the Windy City? Now, Windy City people, Chicago people, listen, I'm just reporting the news. I'm sure there's a lot that's good in Chicago, but the reason I'm talking about this is because of your illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor, who basically is making all the wrong decisions for your city. So sorry about that, y'all. We're gonna look at two stories. One where an off-duty cop is almost assassinated, and then another where they're gonna throw a bomb into an old lady's house. Y'all, what is going on?
Video just released today showing a shooting that left an off-duty Chicago police officer hurt. This shooting happening back on August 3rd in the 4800 block of South Bishop Street. The Civilian Office of Police Accountability, COPA, says the officer was pulling into a garage when three men get out of a separate car. They then opened fire as that garage door closes. Investigators say the officer fired back. he wasn't hit by gunfire, did suffer a minor injury. No one's in custody in this case either.
It's the target of a violent attack this weekend. You can see it in that video. Our Marissa Sulik shows us the video that had them worried for their lives, and they want to know why the suspects threw what they say is a homemade bomb at their house.
It's early Saturday morning here on the 7200 block of South Kedzie. There's a knock on the door, and then a window is smashed. Not once, but twice.
We heard we thought it was gunshots. It was so loud.
Patricia Nelson has lived in this home for 30 years. She is spending her final days here in hospice after she was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension this year. Her daughter, Nisha Thornton, has been by her side through it all. She says the two of them were asleep and woke up when the two men attacked.
I was trying to get my mom to leave. And she won't leave, but she doesn't need the stress of this.
The family says the suspects threw a homemade bomb of sorts at this window. They say luckily it didn't go inside, because if it did, it could have done some serious damage.
In the video, you can see them lighting it and throwing it at the house.
And y'all, finally, we're going to end with this story. Even the peacekeepers are getting involved in violence and killing people, y'all. The governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, was recently photographed with a peacekeeper, like a guy from the hood, from the street, one of the neighborhood guys who they singled out. They said, hey man, you can help us keep the peace, because people around your way, they know you, they love you, they respect you. Throw on this vest, look all peacekeeperish, and go keep some peace. And maybe he did keep some peace, but he also allegedly robbed a Louis Vuitton store and then in the getaway killed somebody. So, there's that as well.
Man charged in a fatal crash and grab on Michigan Avenue last week posed for a picture with Governor J.B. Pritzker just a few days prior.
Yeah, he was in the role of peacekeeper. WGN's Christine Flores is here now. Peacekeeper. Christine, he faces charges not just from this, but another incident as well. So there's a disconnect here.
Yeah, Ray and Micah. So he actually has warrants out for his arrest in 3 other states. Exactly what he's wanted for is not clear at this time. But here locally, he was one of 7 people charged in that Mag Mile incident that claimed the life of an innocent man. Less than a week before that incident, the man was praised by Governor Pritzker for his work as a peacekeeper. The pair even posed for a picture. This image shows Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker posing for a picture with Kellen McMiller on September 5th, where the governor met with peacekeepers in Englewood. In an attached press release that day, the governor's team called the group trusted messengers in the community. Fast forward to 6 days later, where Kellen McMiller is one of 7 people charged in a crash and grab burglary at the Louis Vuitton store along the Magnificent Mile on September 11th. Prosecutors claim the group backed a pickup truck into the store, shattering a glass window. Police say several men entered the store taking merchandise and returning to getaway cars. One of those vehicles was a Kia Stinger that crashed into a Honda CR-V near the intersection of East Ohio Street and Michigan Avenue, claiming the life of 40-year-old Mark Arcetta, an innocent bystander who was on his way to work.
It is heartbreaking. I mean, he obviously made a bad choice. He was, we don't know exactly what happened yet, and the case will play out in court as it's supposed to. But it's unfortunate, but it shouldn't really tarnish the impact that this program is having citywide.
The governor's office responded to the picture with McMiller, which has now been removed from their website, by saying, "We were extremely troubled to learn that this individual was arrested for his alleged involvement in this serious crime, and we expect them to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. The governor will keep doing everything in his power to fight crime, keep our neighborhoods safe, and support community violence intervention."
We're going to keep, as long as the state is supporting it, we're going to keep doing it, because these guys are part of the solution.
Now, McMiller was charged with 1 count of burglary, theft, and also value between $500,000 and $1 million. Now, he was due in court today, but did not appear as he is still in the hospital.
Y'all, this is what happens when you have an illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor, okay? This is what happens when you elect an illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor. I'll be honest, it's frustrating watching this guy. It's frustrating on one hand, but it's humorous. I'm frustrated for Chicagoans, but I'm laughing at, not at y'all, I'm laughing at him, because he's serious. He is drenched in the Kool-Aid. At every opportunity, he's talking about black and brown. He's talking about slavery. He's talking about capital. He's like all the way knee deep in the sauce, y'all. And y'all elected him. I mean, what are y'all thinking? Oh my gosh. But he's good for the channel, y'all. Talking about this guy, man. I mean, this guy is just, he won't stop. He can't stop, won't stop. He's just going to keep going. Another 2 years of this, y'all. Come on. Anyway, y'all, let me know. Let me know what you think. I guess the main question right now is, I don't know how it feels to be in Chicago because I'm not there. So if you're there, does it feel like things are out of control, or does it, or do you just get all these news stories and say, well, you know, they look bad, but while I live here, things feel pretty good? You know, let me know, y'all. And also, do you think that the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, the Dramacrat, do you think he gets reelected? Let me know that as well. Drop a comment down below, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people with the retirement, go down and click the first link in the description. Get the information on protecting. Y'all, listen, y'all. I keep telling y'all this. Gold is at, I told y'all gold was at an all-time high like 2 weeks ago. It's at a new all-time high. It's higher than the high. What are y'all waiting for? This guy, he's illustrious. He's sub 10% approval rating. He somehow gets elected. He wants to take your money and give it to other people. You already know. Speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. They'll hook you up and tell you how to protect your money from illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayors. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.